Hey everyone. In a moment that left the entire congregation in awe, renowned gospel singer Leandrea Johnson was overcome with emotion on stage this Mother's Day, breaking into uncontrollable tears. Her voice faltered and her body shook, but what transpired next rendered everyone speechless. A young boy stepped forward, embraced her, and whispered something that hushed the audience. The circumstances surrounding her emotional breakdown and the identity of the little boy are astonishing. Leandrea Johnson has always been an artist unafraid to express her feelings, whether through her powerful vocals, her public struggles, or her candid testimony. However, the events of Mother's Day 2025 transcended a mere emotional display. They revealed a profound and sacred aspect of Leandrea that the public seldom witnesses. In today's video, we will explore the true events of that day, the untold narrative behind Leandrea's tearful episode, the enigmatic boy who comforted her, and the discussions this encounter has sparked within the gospel community. You will learn the genuine cause of her emotional outburst, the impactful message she conveyed after regaining her composure, and the rumors that began to circulate soon after. Stay tuned, as what we are about to reveal may not only touch your heart, but also transform your perception of Leandrea Johnson forever. Mother's Day 2025 was intended to be a celebration, a moment of praise, joy, and reflection for families honoring the women in their lives. The individuals who raised and nurtured them at New Vision Cathedral in Atlanta witnessed a sanctuary filled to capacity, with every pew occupied and an electric atmosphere permeating the room. Leandrea Johnson was announced as the special guest on the program, and attendees anticipated a powerful experience. However, no one could have predicted the profound moment that unfolded when Leandrea took the stage. As the lights dimmed slightly, the band began to play the introduction to Never Would Have Made It. Although the song is not originally hers, her interpretation resonated deeply, reflecting her own struggles with addiction, single motherhood, public scrutiny, and redemption. From the very first note, it was evident that this was more than a mere performance. It was a deeply personal expression. Yet, as she reached the first chorus, a noticeable shift occurred. Her voice trembled, her grip on the microphone tightened, and a single tear traced down her cheek. Initially, the audience perceived her emotional display as a typical response from a gospel singer moved by the Spirit. However, it quickly escalated into something more profound. Her knees buckled slightly, and she turned her back to the audience in an attempt to regain her composure, but the tears continued to flow. Her backup singers exchanged worried glances, while the organist played softly, uncertain whether to continue or halt the music. Whispers began to circulate among the audience, with some individuals pulling out their phones. Not out of disrespect, but to document what felt like a sacred moment of vulnerability. This was an unscripted and unplanned display of raw emotion. Those closest to Leandrea knew that she had been suppressing her feelings for far too long. The situation took an unexpected turn when, just as she knelt down, overwhelmed and covering her face, a small boy, no older than 7 or 8, quietly emerged from the front row. Dressed in a little grey suit, he approached the stage, climbed the steps without hesitation, and gently embraced Leandrea from behind. It was as if he instinctively understood what was needed, as if some unseen force had guided him. The entire church fell into a profound silence. It was astonishing that the young boy had no connection to Leandrea. In fact, at that moment, not even Leandrea's team was aware of his identity. Who, then, was this enigmatic child? And what did he whisper in her ear that prompted her to look up, smile faintly through her tears, and regain her composure? This is where the narrative takes a spiritual and unforeseen turn. As the cameras captured this poignant moment, many in the audience were already in tears. Some clasped their hands in silent prayer, while others simply gazed in wonder as the little boy, still holding on to Leandrea, whispered something into her ear. The content of his message remained unheard, even by those seated closest to the stage, but what transpired next would ignite a frenzy on social media. Leandrea gradually rose to her feet, her face still glistening with tears, yet her hands had ceased to tremble. She wiped her eyes, nodded at the child, and leaned down to embrace him more tightly, this time with purpose. The boy smiled, gave her one last squeeze, and calmly returned to his seat beside an older woman believed to be his grandmother. Leandrea then looked out at the audience and simply stated, "You have no idea what that hug just did for me." After a brief pause, she added something that took everyone by surprise. "Sometimes the individuals God sends to uplift you are not adults. Sometimes He sends a child to remind you that you are still cherished, even when the world forgets." This single statement ignited a wave of emotion throughout the room. The crowd rose to their feet, some began to cheer and applaud, while others were moved to tears themselves by the rawness of the moment. However, beneath this visible emotion lay a deeper narrative, one that Leandrea had been silently bearing for weeks. According to sources close to her team, just days prior to Mother's Day, Leandrea had received devastating news concerning a family member with whom she had been estranged for years. Recently, it was reported that she had lost someone dear to her. Although she did not publicly address this on stage, her team confirmed that she had been struggling with the burden of unspoken words, unresolved issues, and the profound sorrow of missed opportunities for reconciliation. Those closest to her disclosed that Leandrea had been facing significant emotional and spiritual fatigue. Despite her reputation for a powerful voice and candidness, she has endured numerous personal losses. Her ascent to fame through Sunday Best was fraught with challenges, and following her victory, she encountered criticism from church leaders regarding her tattoos, her drinking habits, and her candid discussions about her faith struggles in the public eye. Just last year, Leandrea admitted during an Instagram live session that she sometimes contemplated leaving the gospel music industry, not due to a lack of love for God, but because of the treatment she received from the church community for her honesty. Thus, her emotional breakdown on Mother's Day was not an isolated incident. It marked the culmination of a prolonged journey filled with unresolved grief, feelings of being misunderstood, and a yearning for a moment of grace. That moment arrived in the form of a child's embrace. Later that evening, a video of this encounter went viral on TikTok and Twitter, prompting thousands to inquire about the identity of the little boy, his connection to her, and whether he understood her struggles. Within 24 hours, a woman named Trina shared on Facebook that the boy was her grandson, Jeremiah, who had been visiting from South Carolina and was unaware that Leandrea would be performing that day. According to her account, Jeremiah had pulled on her sleeve just before the breakdown, expressing, "She's sad, I need to go hug her." Trina attempted to dissuade him, but he was determined. This moment was not orchestrated or rehearsed. It was a divine intervention, a reminder to everyone present in the sanctuary and to the world that sometimes the most profound acts of healing come from the most unexpected sources. However, this is merely the beginning of the story. Following the conclusion of the church service, footage of Leandrea and Jeremiah began to spread rapidly across various gospel blogs and Twitter threads, sparking debates about whether this was a miraculous event. Fans inundated Leandrea's social media with messages of support and admiration for her openness and authenticity. However, what many were unaware of was the event that transpired shortly after she left the stage. According to a backstage source, Leandrea did not immediately retreat to the green room. Instead, she requested to sit alone in a secluded pew at the back of the sanctuary. For nearly 45 minutes, she remained in silence, engaged in prayer, reflection, and tears. Eventually, one of her closest team members joined her, and in a moment of vulnerability, Leandrea reportedly expressed, "I held it together for as long as I could, but when that boy hugged me, it felt like my own son was holding me, and that broke me." This moment is particularly poignant as most fans are aware that Leandrea is a mother to several children. Yet the complexities of her relationship with motherhood are not often publicly discussed. In a previous interview, she revealed that navigating motherhood while grappling with addiction and the pressures of fame was one of the most challenging experiences of her life, acknowledging that she had made significant mistakes during times when she was not emotionally or spiritually available. Thanks for watching.